Rank and file union members snub Biden for Donald Trump. And this will serve as kind of an addendum to my main channel segment. I did mention this, and I just did a segment talking about this dude, Gary Lamb, who put out a video thanking me, got recognized by the president, showing it's not necessarily just union members. There are working class people that are fighting every day for a better life that look to Donald Trump and say thank you for the work he's done on the economy, protecting their rights, and doing a better job than Democrats. You see, in 2016, Donald Trump did really well among union voters. He outperformed. And right now, it's looking like it's going to be similar. In fact, it may actually improve. And this is, I got to say, man, a lot of this is Joe Biden's fault. Joe Biden's disrespectful, okay? No, he is. What did we see in the past? Remember that video where the union worker approached him and said, "You're trying to take my guns away?" And the dude, and Biden yells at him. What do we see? When these people ask Joe Biden several times, they say, "Hey, I'm concerned about this policy." Biden goes, "Go vote for Trump then." What? Dude, this guy's disrespectful. I got to shout it out to the last segment I just did with Gary Lamb. What does Trump do when a guy says, "Thank you, Donald Trump"? Trump posts that message and says, "Thank you." What does Joe Biden do when a guy comes up to him and says, "I want to vote for you. How do you feel about this issue?" And then Joe Biden says, "If you don't like it, you go vote for Trump." Joe Biden's mean and disrespectful. He's a crony establishment player. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see unions flip completely. Now, what Politico is saying here is that the union members are snubbing Biden for Trump. Trump's holding his own. Not that he's necessarily making any big gains. But you remember that story from the Iron Range? We got this story from Duluth News. Iron Range mayors pitch Trump with Pence. As the vice president spoke at the Clure Public Marine Terminal on Friday, 6 Iron Range mayors voiced their approval with a well-timed endorsement letter. This story is about a union stronghold in Minnesota, a Democrat stronghold, where 6 mayors endorsed Donald Trump. And you know why this story is so important before we read it? From the New York Times, how Trump can win. The state-by-state polls could be off in a systematic way, as they were in 2016, when they underestimated Trump's white working class support. Pollsters have tried to fix that problem, and there is no reason to believe they have failed, as the Times' Nate Kahn says. But polling is an inexact science, made harder by the decline in landline phones. The bigger issue is that the campaign isn't over, and Trump could gain support in the final weeks. One possibility is that the coming Supreme Court confirmation battle will sway some conservative voters who are dissatisfied with Trump. If the campaign were a referendum on his presidency, they might vote for Biden. If the confirmation battle instead gets them thinking about whether they're conservative or liberal, they could come home to Trump. The most important part of this is they say that the polls in 2016 underestimated Trump's white working class support, rank and file union members. They think they fixed it. I don't believe they did. Why? It was Politico, in fact, that said they still haven't figured out how to get non-college educated white voters. It's not even about them, though. Now, if Trump makes even tiny gains among any group of white voters, he wins. If Trump makes any gains, if Trump gets at least 3% more support, I'll put it that way, from the black voter, from black voters, he will win. Nothing else. The fight is Joe Biden's to lose. Right now, Joe Biden is projected to win if everything stays the same. But I think the polls are busted. Let's read the story from Politico and see what's up. Joe Biden has pitched himself to voters as a union man, a son of Scranton, PA, who respects the dignity of work and will defend organized labor if he wins the White House. To rank and file members in some unions, especially the building trades, it doesn't matter. They're still firmly in Donald Trump's camp. Labor leaders have worked for months to sell their members on Joe Biden, hoping to avoid a repeat of 2016 when Donald Trump outperformed among union members and won the White House. But despite a bevy of national union endorsements for Biden and years of what leaders call attacks on organized labor from the Trump administration, local officials in critical battleground states said support for Trump remains solid. "We haven't moved the needle here," said Mike Kinsley, Executive Secretary Treasurer with the Ohio State Building and Construction Trades Council, who estimated that about half of his members voted for Trump in 2016 and will do so again. Even if given all the information that's been put out there, all the facts, just pick an issue that the president has had his hands in, it doesn't make a difference. Why are union leaders trying to sway votes? That's what I don't like about unions. Who are they working for? What about them being union leaders makes them support Democrats? I don't trust it. I don't trust it. The regular working class people are split, with many saying Trump. I wonder how many more would be saying Trump if their leadership wasn't trying to convince them to vote a certain way. Now, look, I get it. You can lobby anybody you want. You're a union leader. You're going to do so. But why is it that all these leaders are not split either? I just find it strange. I don't trust the unions. They say, among members of North America's Building Trades Union, there is a dead heat in 6 swing states, with Biden receiving 48% of the vote and Trump 47%, according to an internal poll shared with Politico. He has a very, very, very solid foundation of our members, said James Williams, a vice president of the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, whose survey of members painted a smaller picture. They connect with his messaging and a lot of the fear mongering going all the way back to when he was first elected with, be afraid of the immigrant. The immigrant's here to take your job. That resonated with our membership. They feel like their way of life and their way of living is under attack, and without really understanding the dynamics at play. I mean, the immigrant worker is being abused by employers. It's really fascinating. I remember when Donald Trump, it was the Trump administration, did a raid on several chicken processing plants, and they deported something like 600 people. And guess who came to fill those jobs? Americans. You know why? It is a lie when they say that immigrants take these jobs cheaper because Americans won't do it. It's a lie. White people, black people, Latinos, people of all different backgrounds showed up. And when they were asked, why do you want this job working in a chicken plant? One dude said, it pays more than McDonald's. Paid $14 an hour. It's not necessarily the living wage the left wants, but shouldn't these guys deserve that too? You know what I can't stand? The left comes out saying, minimum wage, $15 living wage for everyone. Yet they don't help the American worker who's begging, and they act like Trump is lying. Why is this union leader lying to these people? I don't understand. Who's lining his pockets with gold? I have to wonder. I haven't had positive experience with union leadership. I respect the working class individual, the union member, but I question the leadership and who their allegiance is to. The unions that I've been in and have experienced have been crony, and they've colluded. You know, they want to appease the management, the managers, and I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan. I don't think the system is working for the people. And when they come out and they tell you, even Bernie Sanders says that mass immigration will displace low-skill labor. It's bad for American workers. We need a certain harmony. Okay, here's how it works. Getting rid of all immigration would be a disaster. You know why? Because then workers would be jumping ship left and right, and it could help contribute to inflation. You get a shortage of workers, industry can't grow. So you do want immigration, but it has to be controlled. That way, American workers are able to get jobs and immigrant workers are able to get jobs. Yet for some reason now the narrative from Joe Biden is decriminalize border crossings and a moratorium on deportation. And union leaders are saying, no. They're fear-mongering about immigrants. No, Donald Trump's talking about illegal immigration, and so is Bernie Sanders. At least Bernie Sanders was until he went hardcore establishment. Surprise, surprise. These people do want to depress wages. And Bernie Sanders used to admit it. Now I don't think he's being honest. Now I think he's just sold out and become a millionaire. So you know what I think we're going to see? I think Donald Trump's support from union members is much higher than these people realize. Take a look at this photo. Look at these guys. Union dudes working union jobs. What has Joe Biden done for you? The Trans-Pacific Partnership under Obama? Why? So that your factory can be sent to a foreign country? So that Chinese individuals will be forced to work for garbage wages? Remember when we used to complain about sweatshop labor? Who was it? It was the industrialist right that they were like, hey man, $1.25 an hour is better than no job at all. And I'm like, no, dude, $7 an hour is better than $1.25 an hour, period. I don't care what you're doing. You don't take away American jobs to go fund sweatshops. I tell you what, you come to me and you put that Made in America sticker on it, I'm gonna buy it. I actively look for products that are made in America over products that aren't, even if they cost more, because I'm all about supporting my community. and the workers and the people who are trying to get by. I got no beef with China's workers. Now, the Chinese Communist Party, oh, yeah, lots. But the individual who wants a job, you guys got to start your own businesses. We can have trade. We can have factories in other countries. But I don't understand how these people are going to vote for a Joe Biden, who was all about the TPP. Bernie Sanders and Trump were both opposed to this because we don't want our jobs being stripped away, being extracted from our country. And then good working class Americans are left high and dry. There's a chart that the left likes to share. It shows the wage growth going up. And then at some point, 1980, it splits and working class stagnates and the 1% keeps growing. Now, a lot of people speculate as to what caused that. I'd be curious if outsourcing caused that, if sending our factories overseas caused that, if mass migration caused that. We need to make sure that we have a good balance to our immigration system. That way, the immigrants themselves are better served and protected and can find their American dream much more easily. And we don't want to hurt American workers by depressing wages, so we got to make sure we do it right. But I wonder, is it possible the reason wages went down is because jobs were disappearing and the workers had to compete with each other for lower wages to find a job? If you take a factory out of Detroit and send it to China, there's still going to be 1,000 workers in that city, now that the factory's gone, who need work. They start applying at other industries, saying, my salary used to be $50K, but I'll take 40. I'm desperate. Then the next guy says, I'll do 35. You see, the industry likes it. They like when people compete for lower wages in desperation. That's why I think the things that Trump's been doing in terms of trade and bringing factories back is not only important for the working class and our economy, but it's important for our national security. We didn't even have medicine because it was being manufactured in China. We can't have that, dude. We can't have that. I'll leave it there. Union voters, I think they're coming out for Trump. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.